Hello and welcome to Only Stupid Answers. My name is Sam Basher,
I'm DJ Woldridge.
and today we're talking about Stargirl Season 1, Episode 11, titled Shining Knight. Courtney's life gets turned upside down when someone from her past arrives in Blue Valley. Meanwhile, Pat uncovers new information about the ISA's plans, and Jordan makes a surprising discovery at Quirk.
Oh, snap.
Since last week, fans of all there's fans in the chat and in the comments of our reviews so far have kind of been all over the place. Some
Mhm.
people have loved every single episode, some people have been more lukewarm on it, but since last week's episode I just thought it was like a gangbuster. I thought it was really well done,
Yeah.
and it's continued over to this episode. I really like it. I don't know if it's necessarily that we're diving into older legacy characters coming back. That's
Yeah.
a cool element, but also I think Breck Basinger gave a very good performance this episode. Not that she's ever done a bad one. I just thought she did a very good performance, and her writing, whoever wrote this episode in particular, did an amazing job with her scenes with her and her father. That's right, we're talking about spoilers. But DJ, I want to throw to you. What did you think of this episode?
The writer of this episode is Jeff Johns. Shocker. And it was directed by Jennifer Fang. And her father, Sam Curtis, was played by Jeff Stoltz. And I liked it because it finally put to bed what I thought was like one of the weakest plot lines, which was her thinking Starman was her dad. And mostly I always felt like that was weak because Pat would know and like her mom would know. Like there's figures in her life that would clearly know. And the fact that we kind of had to dance around the fact that they would clearly know made it implausible. So I'm glad that we resolved it. I'm glad the direction we took it in, that her dad is not anybody. He's kind of a piece of trash. He's a handsome piece of trash. I don't necessarily blame Barbara for getting with him. But yeah, he's not a good person. They definitely gave him the Joel McHale quaff, especially when you see him from behind and stuff on the bus. And I think you're right. I think Breck Basinger's performance with Jeff Stoltz as the dad and the way that all played out was really cool. And I actually was surprised that for me, this was a kind of an emotional episode at two specific points. When Shining Knight, who is Justin the janitor, kind of finally is able to find Pat and talk to him, and he talks about how he's not well. He's not well. He's not doing well. And I think beyond the normal pathos behind something like that, we're with everything going on in the country right now. There's a lot of people threatened with homelessness, and a lot of people in the homeless community or the unhoused community, deals with mental health issues, and I feel like this is a very important thing to discuss right now. I don't know if Stargirl is going to dive into it. I don't know if Stargirl's the show to shoulder that conversation, but it was surprisingly emotional. And then of course the thing that is not surprisingly emotional, like exactly what the show's doing, but it still works, is when after Courtney realizes her dad's kind of trash, and she goes to Pat for comfort. That was it. It reminded me of the admittedly much better version of that, the classic scene from Fresh Prince when he goes, when he goes to it's Uncle Carl, right? And
it's his dad. Oh, he goes to Uncle Carl.
Yeah, he goes to Uncle Carl about his dad. It's the same dynamic. It's the same dynamics in play. So yeah, that it didn't surprise me that it kind of got emotional for me.
No, I fully agree. I thought diving into Shining Knight more, I like that there's a good reason why he's starting to remember things after seeing the staff and remembering what was his name? Star Spangled Kid. That's who he worked with, and Stripesy. That's who was on the Seven Soldiers of Victory.
Yeah.
Got another good joke that why are there 8? It's like, we don't need to talk about it right now because it sounds lame if you say 8. You want the alliteration.
I will say, I think numbering your superhero team of like the number of people is just, you're asking for trouble, because if they've been talking recently about rebranding, they're doing. Like the Fantastic Four is going to get new costumes and new characters. Like, but there always has to be 4 because it's the Fantastic Four, and you should have named it something different so you could have more team members.
Well, yeah. See, also right now on the team are more than 4 people. There's
See,
6 with the kids.
Always asking for trouble.
Yeah, that's 8. They weren't planning that way back when. So now that they're in trouble. By the way, that totally off topic, but Fantastic Four X-Men crossover book just ended this week, and it was dope. But
Okay.
back to this show. Sir Justin's entire storyline, and I liked you mentioning the unhoused community, because I don't, not to knock Jeff Johns or the creators behind this show, I do not believe that is what they were getting at necessarily. But regardless, the point of art and other entertainment mediums is sometimes the audience can take things out or take lessons out of things that might not necessarily be there. And I think that's a valuable lesson right now. I like that Pat is able to be kind to him, and not that whenever we've seen Pat ever be a dick in any way, but it's the level of respect he has towards what Justin's going through. And I like, it was the coolest, besides like going to the JSA headquarters, like that was really cool. That was a really cool episode, but there was this cool level of mystery of hearing him talk about who he is and what he means, how his story is similar to all of the people here, that he was given King Arthur's sword, and King Arthur believed in him, that anybody could use Excalibur. And I really appreciated that, the way that they're connecting the dots with a lot of these characters. I know Shiny Knight played a big role in the Stargirl series initially, and his story was wonderful. I knew we were going to have to deal with Stargirl's dad. I'm glad they did it really fast. I'm like, last week we sent the email and now we're done with it. Now we moved on. And Pat got a really good moment punching the guy in the face. Mainly like they made him extra scummy there at the end. You know, like they, like, not just asking for the locket, but just extra like, I'm never going to come back, or like I was there first with your wife, and like all that stuff. It's like, we've done this before, but it doesn't matter. We talked off camera, but Pat's line of like, "You're lucky I'm busy," was a very nice touch to end it, because it was like, wait, this guy is a superhero.
Exactly.
He's a sidekick. He was like, yeah, he could really mess you up. Like right now he looks like a dad, but he's got a big robot he could just bring in here.
Well, exactly. And not only that, but it's like, even though when you compare him to the JSA or the Seven Soldiers, like he's the sidekick. But if you compare him to like normal people, he was hanging out with superheroes.
Yeah, it's like we can dunk on Robin as much as we want. By the way, I've been rewatching Harley Quinn with my girlfriend, who's never seen it before, and we just got past the Robin episode, and that was delightful. Please go watch that show.
Coming to HBO Max.
Watching
if you mix it on DC
August 1st, I think. Watching just like thinking of Robin gets dunked on like in Lego Batman and the Harley Quinn show, but he could still take you out. All those super armed children could really mess up a normal person easily. But that being said, he had a lot of good scenes, and especially when he was there to comfort Courtney after or I guess that was before he went and talked with him, or punched him in the face.
It was a little bit, I will say that was kind of a weaker part of this scene, is it kind of like went back and forth, because it's like he comforts Courtney. Courtney realizes the staff's not responding to her. Courtney goes to school. Courtney goes back home. The staff is not responding. And it's like we're kind of repeating beats to get to the specific point. But I would say, again, Pat is kind of a secret MVP of the show. Well, not so secret because it's Luke Wilson. He's a movie star. But his compassion, I think, is very well utilized on the show, and something that's very nice to have on one of these superhero shows, and also helps, I think, gloss over some of the dumber aspects of, like, when he's like, Courtney, it's not your fault. It's like, well, I mean, y'all kind of did rush in as kids to fight full-on adult supervillains. So
let's not do that again, writers. Don't do it again.
And then like when her mom's like, I don't know, it's you put you at risk, but then again, there's other people at risk. It's like, yeah, you go. I mean, you go, you're a parent, you go. But again, then the show doesn't exist. So there's a certain level of willing suspension of disbelief. And I think, having somebody like Luke Wilson in there helps like smooth that over. You're like, okay, I guess this is how things are going.
Yeah, right. Like it makes it just a little bit more palatable.
Amy Smart too,
or understandable.
Yeah, Amy Smart too. Like when she's giving that monologue, it's like, because it's Amy Smart, you're like, okay, I don't think this is how this conversation would go, but I'm willing to give it a chance.
And I do want to give this does not matter whatsoever, but when Courtney picks up the staff again, lights up, winds are blowing, light bulbs blowing out. That's happened a lot. They've replaced a lot of light bulbs.
They
and
sure
it could just
have.
be they have to fix electricity, but like Amy Smart and Luke Wilson have to look away because it's so bright, and they use the visual effects to show the reflection of the cosmic staff in Courtney's eyes. And I'm like, if they have to look away and they're like 7 feet away from it, I would love if she tried to walk outside after that. She can't see anything. It's like after you stare at the sun.
Yeah,
it's like, oh God.
Well, and it's funny too, because when that was going on, I was thinking about the fact that in the comics, Jack Knight had that version of the staff before Courtney did. We talked to Jack Knight a little bit back in our last episode. He had to wear like welding goggles to protect himself from light. Courtney, I guess, doesn't have that issue.
And neither did Starman.
Nope.
Neither did they're fine. They're just staring right at it. No problem. Just looking at it. But yeah, that being said, I also liked, oh, by the way, just the scene where Shining Knight's comparing the Dragon King to fighting dragons. I like that idea. I like the way that he understood the world. And if the Seven Soldiers had fallen apart, there wasn't JSA, and he had no way to contact anybody. I get why he came and did this by himself, and it backfired. Yeah. And also, possibly, I mean, we've seen the ISA just kill their own and kill a lot of people willy-nilly. No big deal.
Children,
yeah. Like, and so I'm like, why would you not kill Shining? Like, you killed the whole JSA. Why wouldn't you just kill Shining Knight? And he's been around in some way since King Arthur's time. I think there was one story where he was transported via time travel or something like that. Or he's immortal, and would want to hear your theories in the comments down below. But I like the idea that if he is immortal and he has lived that long and he has such amazing stories, I like the idea that possibly ISA just didn't know how to take care of him. Like, they lock up Solomon Grundy, but maybe they're like, okay, we'll just lobotomize him and just like let him be a janitor, or have him as a janitor as a way of kind of what were they doing? They are as a sign of pride. I don't know. It's like mounting the head of an animal you just killed kind of thing, where you're using it to ridicule him to make yourself feel better.
Yeah, they'll have to.
I can't think of what I'm trying to say, but I had to explain my way around that.
Like a trophy. Like he's standing there as a trophy of their past victories. They're gonna have to explain it in some fashion. And I do like I didn't think of this at the time, but I did like your point that Sir Justin was kind of like a younger character taking on the mantle of King Arthur, which matches the other characters. There is also another version of Shining Knight, Justina or Justina, depending on the writer. That is also a character that I don't think has ever been explicitly, because of the time. It was a time of transition in comics and comfortability with all that stuff. I don't know if she's ever specifically labeled as trans, but she functions essentially as a trans character. And I think that'd be a really cool way to incorporate a character like that if Shining Knight were to pass down his mantle to somebody else in the JSA. Listen, every episode this season has been named after a character, and they've run out of characters. They're going to have to introduce a whole bunch of other characters in season 2 just to have titles for their episodes.
They've gone through a lot. They're gonna have to get creative. But yeah, and what was the other big plot point with Amy Smart kind of just accepting what her daughter does now, and what Pat does, and Trey Romano still getting like shunned off, like, hey, get out of here, get out of here. And then we have Jordan figuring out via brainwave that Courtney is Stargirl.
Yes.
Pat is Stripesy.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't kill him. He wasn't there. He's a sidekick. And Jordan, I like that they kind of acknowledge it. Like, he's got something for Amy Smart. It's not like explicit. It's classic like villain stuff. And he definitely throws it away by the end of the episode. I like that too, because it's like they haven't spent that much time together. He's just physically attracted to her, or is attracted to her work ethic,
or he wants a mom for his son, or something weird like that. I will say though, I think they don't know that Pat is Stripesy.
But they know he's somebody.
They know because they talk about killing the family, and they don't mention Stripe at all. They don't mention Pat at all. It's just like to take care of the family too. So I wonder if that's something that will come up later as a reveal or something.
Oh, they do know he's at least has the armor. They do know he has, because Brainwave remembered fighting him.
Yeah.
So, and that was cool. Also, let's just mention this too. Brainwave Jr. probably, definitely, we'll say 99.9% sure he is smushed. He is very dead, because Brainwave was like, my power grew. We could do this to half the country because I absorbed his powers. I'm like, wow, okay, guys, we get it.
Jeez.
You killed the kid last episode.
Yeah, you killed your own kid. And also, I know we discussed this a couple episodes back, but for those of you that are curious about Shining Knight, he was created by Craig Flessel back in Adventure Comics number 66 back in 1941. And he showed up in Justice League Unlimited and stuff like that. And he's been around for a while, Seven Soldier Victory, all of that jazz. So it'll be interesting to see. I doubt we'll get like a flashback episode to his time with Arthur because of budgetary reasons.
I don't know. Like they've pulled off a lot with this show.
Yeah. Is there at this point, because the next two episodes is essentially, they air a week apart, but it's essentially a 2-part finale. I believe it's Stars and Stripe Part 1 and Part 2. Are there any characters, Sam, next season that you would like to see?
The Seven Soldiers of Victory is a cool one to pick from. Like if you have like Vigilante and Crimson Avenger, where it's like, no, these will never ever pop up anywhere else, and that's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, you know when like the Warner Brothers movie division is like, you can't use Batman because da da da. They won't do that with a single Seven Soldiers character.
It would be cool though if we saw the Thunderbolt used. For the finale, it would be very cool to see the Thunderbolt used because you teased it for so long, or at least end the finale with someone clicking it. They're doing something with it. That would be really cool.
Do you think we're setting up? We teased Jakeem earlier in the season, but do you think we're setting up the little brother getting it?
Maybe he uses it once, but but it would be dumb for him to be the one to use it.
Yeah, I think
Jakeem, and also this show is pretty progressive. It's having there's representation across the board for a lot of characters, which is cool. So let's not take a role away from a very popular and prominent black character and give it to this kid. But hey, if you want Trey Romano to play around with it for a little bit, go for it. Like he clicks on it, genie comes out, he wishes for stuff, he and his friend use it, whatever. You could play around with it, but I hope we see something of it before the end of the season. But next season, it'd be cool to see Jakeem play a bigger role, see the JSA grow. It'd be really cool if we shot, I know the JSA headquarters had to be flown to. Well, let's come up with some kind of magical reason you could go there easier. Like it'd be cool to see them meet in that hall. I would like to see more of that.
Agreed. I'd like to see we've teased the Green Lantern. I'd like to see maybe Jade and Obsidian, or a Green Lantern if they really want to go for it and actually have a Green Lantern. I'm down for that too. That would be cool. It would be interesting to see if they tackle the Flash at all, their version of Flash, Earth 2, whatever this version of Earth 2's Flash is. And if they did something with Vigilante, if we're doing Shining Knight, it'd be cool to see something with Vigilante and like the old, because Arrow did a more modern, an interpretation of the more modern version of the Vigilante. It'd be cool to see the one with the cowboy hat and the bandana, just to see it.
You know what would be cool is, since it's now a CW prominent show.
Yeah.
Get John Wesley Shipp to play Jay Garrick.
Yes.
Why not? He already played him. Yep. You can just like kind of shuffle him over.
Did Flash answer what happened to him after Crisis? Or is him? Do they? Because I did not watch the shows after we were done with Crisis. But they think they're it. They're the one Earth. There are no other Earths. So
and as far as we know, Jay didn't make it over. So as far as we know,
do they think just Jay's gone? Jay's gone?
Yeah, they've really not dealt with that at all.
Oh, okay, cool.
They have not dealt with it. But they don't think the worlds exist, and they were planning on doing a Stargirl crossover probably next season.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see. And that would be kind of cool. Have Jay be like the bridge.
I think that'd be great. I think that'd be really cool.
Be really cool. Yeah. I'd be on board with that, and doing it like a crossover with the Stargirl characters and the Flash, or having a smaller crossover. I know like Batwoman and Lois and Superman and Lois. Yeah. That's what it is. Is a crossover, not Supergirl.
Weird, and also feels like a bit of a missed opportunity, but whatever.
But Batwoman's got their own stuff they're going to be.
Oh my goodness! Yep.
But to wrap it up, I'd give this episode a 9 out of 10. I think this is the Shining Knight entire storyline that was really interesting to me. Also, Brec Basinger's performance with her dad, and also Pat. It was overall a really well performed and well written episode. That it feels like we're starting to wind down a little bit, but in a good way. Like we're going to get to a natural conclusion for at least this threat, but that doesn't mean it's over.
Yeah. And
we probably might see a few ISA members die. The Gambler. Mm-hmm. That's okay.
That's okay. We're all right with that. The only ones I would like to see stick around really are Sportsmaster and Tigress, and maybe Icicle.
Yeah, and maybe use Solomon Grundy. Explain what happened with the Shade. You know, like there's like a lot of
Oh,
characters
Shade
here.
would be good to see. I'll also say that, I mean, in the trailers, we had the big classic villain team and hero team running at each other. So I think
Classic.
I think we can anticipate that in one of these episodes. For me, while I did enjoy this episode, this is kind of 2 episodes in a row where the other JSA members were just kind of standing around going, Pat, but why? And so for me, it was strong, but I would give it an 8. So I still really enjoyed it, but not as quite as much as Sam did.
Yeah, let us know in the comments down below what you thought, though, and write your ideas for the finale as well as season 2 of Stargirl, maybe a possible crossover. We want to hear from you, so make sure you do that. Then like, subscribe, and share, and hit us up on Twitter at Only Stupid Answers.
You got the vows from Stupid.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.